what they have done. To be more clear, George W. Bush and also President Obama. So we've been.
One did let his donors come to the briefing room to speak to us.
Okay, and we know what that last president said from this briefing room. Okay, so and only did three or four paragraphs. Very different approach.
That's a very basic, direct question.
Wait. Hold on. Wait a second.
Eight times, or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a second.
That's what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please. A little respect here, please. So, every year.
A few moments later.
And so, to say that I'm holding information or allude to anything else is not unfair. It's really, really unfair. I think people who are watching and have been watching this briefing for this past week could say that we are doing our best in this briefing to provide the information that we have.
Boy, I gotta tell you guys, things are getting crazy. They're getting out of control when it comes to this civil war among Democrats and the mainstream liberal media over Joe Biden and his mental health. Okay, I gotta tell you guys, I've never seen anything like this. Okay, what we've seen over the past 2 weeks is a complete reversal when it comes to the media all of a sudden knowing how to do their jobs, okay, which is to criticize the guy that is actually in office, okay? Biden has one of the lowest approval ratings that we've ever seen in modern history for a president, and the media focuses more on Trump than the guy that's actually in office, okay? Because the American people are suffering, but they weren't concerned about that, right? They knew that Biden was old, senile, and cognitively impaired for the longest time, but they didn't care. They ignored it up until they could not ignore it anymore after the CNN debate, and now they have completely turned on Biden in the White House, even to the point where they're now openly revolting against the White House press team for the propaganda that they continue to run on behalf of the Biden administration, which again is amazing, okay, because they allow themselves to be gaslighted by the affirmative action press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, for the past 2 years. And now, lo and behold, they actually want to give Karine Jean-Pierre that smoke when she comes out here and tries to run propaganda and gaslights on behalf of the Biden administration. As she gets confronted on this bombshell report from the liberal New York Times that first reported a Parkinson's expert, Dr. Kevin Kennard, has visited the White House 8 times from July 2023 through March of this year. Now, there's no confirmation that Kennard was there to see the president or anybody else. And the press asked Karine Jean-Pierre about this, and Karine Jean-Pierre tried to pretend like, oh, well, I can't tell you if this guy has actually visited the White House, even though it is public information. And the mainstream liberal media did not like this answer very much. I mean, they essentially went off on Karine Jean-Pierre because of her lack of answers.
That's a very basic, direct question.
Wait. Hold on. Wait a second.
Eight times, or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a second.
That's what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please. A little respect here, please. So, every year, around the president's physical examination, he sees a neurologist. That's 3 times, right? So I am telling you that he has seen a neurologist 3 times while he has been in this presidency. That's what I'm saying. I am telling you that he has seen them 3 times. That is what I'm sharing with you, right? So every time he has a physical, he has had to see a neurologist. So that is answering that question.
No, it's not.
No, it is. It is. You're asking me.
Kennard, come to the White House.
But I also said to you, Ed, I also said to you, for security reasons, we cannot share names. We cannot share names.
You cannot
we have to.
Others he would have met with.
We cannot.
You can share names in regards to if someone came here in regards to the president.
We cannot share names of specialists broadly, from a dermatologist to a neurologist. We cannot share names. There are security reasons. We have to protect.
It's public.
I understand that.
I looked it up before I came out here.
hear
It's
you.
right there for anyone to see.
Ed, I hear you. I cannot from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy. I think they would appreciate that too. We have to give them.
Question of the doctor.
We have to keep their privacy.
It is public.
It's public information.
I hear you.
listed that he went to
And you're going to allow this to fester
guys,
longer, Karine, unless the White House answers the
hold on a
question.
second. There's no reason to go back and forth and be in this aggressive way.
Miffed around here about how information's been shared with the press corps about him.
What do you missed about? What do you missed about?
Everything he just asked about.
And then every time I come back and I answer the question that you guys asked.
Correctly, didn't have to come back and clean up.
I never answered the question incorrectly. That is not true. I was asked about a medical exam. I was asked about a physical. That was in the line of question that I answered. And I said, no, he did not have a medical exam. And I still stand by that. Matter of fact, the president still stands by that. He had a verbal check-in. That is something that the president has a couple times a week.
Now in regards to Dr. Kevin Kennard.
And I am telling you right now that I am not sharing confirming names from here. It is a security reasons. I am not going to do that, Ed. It doesn't matter how hard you push me. It doesn't matter how angry you get with me. I'm not going to confirm a name. It doesn't matter if it's even in the log. I am not going to do that from here. That is not something I am going to do. What I can share with you is that the president has seen a neurologist for his physical 3 times. 3 times. And it is in the reporting that we share a comprehensive reporting. Matter of fact, it's more than what the last guy shared, and it is in line with what George W. Bush did. It's in line with what Obama did. And so it is comprehensive. It is out there. I just read a quote from it, but I am not going to devolve somebody's name or confirm someone. I'm not going to do that. That is as privacy for that person. I'm not going to do that. It doesn't matter how hard you push me. It doesn't matter how angry you get with me from here. I'm just not going to do that. It is inappropriate. It is not acceptable. So I'm not going to do it.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible exchange. You have the media finally going off on Karine Jean-Pierre because of the fact that she refuses to do her damn job. I just wish this came 2 years earlier, right? When she first got her job on day one, when she showed that, hey, yeah, I'm just like Jen Psaki, right? Except she never circles back. I don't think Jen Psaki ever circled back, but, Karine Jean-Pierre, she is very, very, very close to accusing the media of being racist or homophobic or sexist. She just has to choose an infinity stone of wokeness to activate here in order to try to deflect the criticism, right? This is essentially what they do in most of these situations. I'm personally convinced that she's close to getting there, right? Because she's getting a whole lot of heat, okay? The press is fed up. They're saying, no, we're not going to continue to allow you to gaslight us. And I don't blame them because I genuinely believe that some of these people in the press, the more naive members of the press, were probably gaslighted and misled by the White House when it comes to Biden's mental condition, right? So, of course, you do have some of those in the press that just lied on behalf of the White House. They knew that Biden was a mess upstairs, but they didn't care because they were pushing propaganda. So now they're out here pretending like they're blindsided. Oh, we're shocked. We're stunned. We didn't know that Joe Biden was like this. It's like, no. You all knew. But again, I don't doubt there's some members of the press that genuinely were naive enough to buy into the gaslighting and the propaganda from the White House. And now they're pissed off because, again, they feel betrayed. Because with everything happening right now to Biden in the White House and all the backlash they're getting, this is just as much of an indictment on the mainstream liberal media as it is on the White House. Because, again, the White House ran the propaganda. The media either, again, went along with the propaganda, knowing that it was propaganda, knowing that it was lies, or, again, they were so naive because they're in bed with the Democrat Party that they just believed these talking points and said, okay, well, Biden's fine, right? They didn't actually push back. They didn't do their jobs as journalists and to express skepticism over the things that the Biden administration and the White House were saying. No. They essentially carry water for the White House, right? Like Joe Scarborough coming out here and saying that Biden's the best that he's ever been. And if you don't believe that, if you don't believe that Biden is as sharp as ever, then F you, right? This is what he said, okay? This is what he said on his show. This is what he told his audience. So, again, to have Biden come out and to lay an egg the way that he did at that CNN debate is not only embarrassing for the administration, but is also embarrassing for the liberal media. So, I don't blame these people for being upset. I don't blame them for going off on Karine's Jean-Pierre, because if you were stupid enough to be misled by this administration, yeah, I would be pissed too. But again, it's more on you than them, okay? Because again, most of these people, a vast majority of them knew that what was coming out of the White House was BS, okay? So again, Karine Jean-Pierre is losing her mind doing this interview. Obviously, she can't take criticism of the White House. And because the press is not backing down, she is freaking out even more because she's not used to this. As I just told you guys, yeah, they don't really criticize the White House. They don't push back. They don't express enough skepticism. And now that they're finally doing their jobs, Karine Jean-Pierre can't handle it, okay? So she's essentially going to stop the press conference to scold the reporters for attacking the White House. You can't make this stuff up, right? You can't make this stuff up. The Biden administration and the mainstream liberal media, all of this, the Democrat Civil War has officially become the #1 rated reality show in the world, right? And I'm absolutely loving it.
It's what we do. And we understand that freedom of the press, we respect the freedom of the press. You heard me talk about this last week. I appreciate the back and forth that we all have. I try to respect you, and I hope you try to respect me. And we literally do everything that we can. My team does everything that we can to make sure we get the answers to you. That's what we do. And sometimes we disagree. Sometimes we are not in agreement. But you know what? That's democracy. That is what is important, to have that healthy back and forth. And so to say that I'm holding information or allude to anything else is not unfair. It's really, really unfair.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, Cringe. They're not just talking about this, right? What you saw from the liberal press reporter, Ed O'Keefe, he works for CBS News, that's pent up frustration, right? That's them being upset about the fact that you never give answers, that you're always hiding information. And now at the most pressing time for the White House to actually be transparent, they're choosing not to be. They're still gaslighting, which again, to me, is just funny how the media is actually shocked by this, because again, they've been doing this since day one. And the media has been complicit in this. This is why I'm saying everybody involved in the situation, from the Democrat Party to the White House to the liberal media, they all deserve it. They all deserve the embarrassment and the humiliation that has been brought upon the left side of the political aisle ever since that CNN debate.
I think people who are watching and have been watching this briefing for this past week could say that we are doing our best in this briefing to provide the information that we have. And I will admit, I will be the first one to admit, sometimes I get it wrong. At least I admit that. At least I admit that. And sometimes I don't have the information.
You mean most of the time you get it wrong, and most of the time you don't have the information. That's actually what you mean. That is the truth.
And I will always, always admit that. But I do take offense to what was just happening at the beginning of this briefing. It's not okay. Go ahead.
We are seeking clarity.
I understand that.
And I think what we're trying to say is when a name is in a public record on a waves form, that it is in the public domain.
Yep.
The president could authorize that his medical records or additional medical information could be made public, because he could waive HIPAA, he could do those things.
Yep.
And if he chooses to do that, we would like to know more. Part of the reason we are pressing here is that we are not clear on what has happened, and therefore the American people to whom we report don't have a sense of it. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And so
But the personal attacks is not okay.
And so we want to have a positive.
Very, very clear here.
Well, listen, here's the thing, Cringe. They're not attacking you personally. They're attacking you professionally, right? Those are two different things, okay? A professional attack and a personal attack are two different things, okay? Nobody said, hey, Cringe, you're ugly, right? That's not what anybody said, okay? What their problem is the fact that you don't answer questions, that you are hiding things. That is an attack on you professionally. That is a critique of your job, okay, and how you're doing your job, which is poor, right? But again, this is what they do. In order to deflect criticism, they say, oh, well, you're attacking me personally. No, I'm just criticizing the fact that you're doing a bad job, right? That you suck at your job. But again, I'm telling you guys, she is very, very, very close to pulling the race card. She's very, very, very close to pulling the homophobia card. She's very, very, very close to pulling the sexism card, okay? Because she is a deer in the headlights right now when it comes to how the media is now actually doing their jobs, okay? No more softballs, no more games, no more Mr. Nice Press, whatever you want to call it, right? They are now coming after her in full force because their reputations depend on it, right? Their titles as journalists depend on it. Not that the title really means anything anymore, okay? But yeah, I can understand why they're upset. And again, she's trying to deflect criticism by saying that it's a personal attack when it's not personal. It's professional.
So the one question is, after a debate that drew days and days and days of scrutiny, why hasn't the president had an in-person physical check-in? Maybe blood work, maybe other things. Yeah. Because when he said he was seen, I certainly thought he had been physically seen, not a phone check-in. Yeah. So and that's part of what we're saying about how information comes out in waves, and then we may have a different impression.
Yeah, I mean, Karine came out and basically lied and said that, well, Biden hasn't seen a doctor since like February. And then the White House released some information contradicting her, saying that, yeah, Biden got seen after the debate. And everybody thought that, oh, well, it was in person. Come to find out, it wasn't in person. It was like a phone check. Again, this is what we're talking about, right? This type of information should have been clarified last week from Cringe. But because Cringe didn't clarify, because Cringe was running propaganda, she got lost to her propaganda. She got caught up in a lie. Now the press is pissed. And I don't blame them for being pissed because it's like, yo, we can't even report accurate information. We have to continue to change the story because you keep changing the story. You're not being honest. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Imagine if they had been doing this from day one. I'm telling you, Trump would be up 15, 20 points in polls. Biden's approval rating would be in the single digits. Okay? When people ask themselves, why is the race so close? Why is Trump only beating Biden by 6 points, which is a landslide, by the way? It's because the media has been running propaganda the whole time. It is not a coincidence that you're now seeing Trump starting to pull away. Like I predicted, I said Trump's going to pull away because he's had the momentum since last fall. And there's nothing that Democrats can do about it. But Trump would be winning by even more, again, if it wasn't for the 24/7 propaganda that is run on the liberal media against him, but in favor of Joe Biden. Imagine if the press was fair, if it was actually neutral. We had a real press. We blow out every election. We win every election. It wouldn't even be close. Only if only. I'm just saying, it's frustrating to think about that the press is now doing their jobs and you're seeing the polls shift more in favor of Trump, along with the fact that the press is now doing their jobs, right? But yeah, I mean, Jean-Pierre is not being transparent. There's nothing transparent about this administration. And yeah, they deserve to be called out on it.
So
and I totally
this
understand
dominated his presidency for 10 days, and he could submit to another exam, a full exam, partial exam, whatever. He can waive his right to make things public. None of us are asking about the military members who might be seeing a physician here. None of us. We are only asking about the president's well-being.
Understood.
And so that's why we want to understand. When you see on the public records that a physician with his specialty has come to the White House, gone to the residence clinic, and met with the president's physician, we feel like there is more to be said there, and that's what we're asking.
And I understand that, Kevin.
AKA, we're not stupid, right? Despite the fact that Democrats believe that everybody else in this country is stupid, the press is saying, no, we're not that stupid, okay? It seems as if this guy was there for Joe Biden. We need more information, right? We need more information.
Leo, and you know I respect you wholeheartedly, and I've known you for some time. We want to be also, because we are talking about someone whose name who is out there, and I understand. I get it. It's in the law. I get that. It's in the law.
What's the security concern?
We want to.
Yeah, it's already public information. She just doesn't want to confirm that Biden is being seen by neurologists on a frequent basis, because that would indicate that they are aware that Biden has a condition, which again would be absolutely devastating. It would be absolutely devastating if information comes out that these people knew a long time ago that Biden had some type of neurological condition. So she really can't answer the question honestly without completely undermining the administration and just absolutely destroying the credibility of the White House, which, I mean, again, to anybody paying attention, they don't have any credibility. But I'm just saying, to the normies, to the people who don't pay attention, not good, right? It would not be good for her to actually admit that or to give out names or to confirm that this is actually what is happening. And again, it's funny because this is only coming out because the mainstream liberal media decided that, hey, we're going to start actually reporting this stuff that we already knew. We're now going to start to report it and to leak it because they all want Joe Biden to step down because they believe that he's going to lose to Trump.
Respect that person and give them the measure of privacy that they deserve. The moment I say anything about any specialist, it becomes a thing from this podium. So what I can share, and this is what I can share, he has seen a neurologist 3 times. 3 times, not more than that. Not more than that. He's seen a neurologist 3 times.
Yeah, so again, what does J. Cole say about girls and their body counts? Okay, you got to multiply by 3. Okay, so Chris Jean-Pierre there says Biden has seen a neurologist 3 times. She tries to pretend as if it's a part of some type of regular checkup. It's nothing, crazy or anything like that. Nothing to be concerned about. Yeah, you can multiply that number by 3 or 4, right? So Biden's probably been seen 9 to 12 times, which, again, the New York Times is saying about 8, right? So, yeah, it's probably true. Okay, Biden's been seen a lot by neurologists. Okay, being seen 8 times by neurologists, even in a span of 4 years, is a lot. Okay, that's a lot. That is an indication that something's wrong. This is why Chris Jean-Pierre is saying, well, only 3 times, once a year, right? Just to check up. Okay, nothing crazy. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty insane, man. It really is. This is probably the most entertaining period of politics that I can remember ever since I started doing this, right? It is fascinating. I feel like I'm watching an episode of The Twilight Zone right now. I feel like the world is upside down because we're actually seeing the press do their jobs and Democrats are losing. They're losing over the press actually being neutral. This is why they hate the idea of the press being neutral, because when you see an actual neutral press, this is what you get, right? Democrats lose. And it's so funny because if Democrats are so correct on the fact, then a neutral press shouldn't be the issue. But because they actually aren't correct on the facts and all they put out is misinformation and disinformation, a neutral press actually doing their jobs is their worst nightmare, okay? And you're seeing it happen right now in front of our faces. A Democrat's worst nightmare when it comes to the liberal media. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.